I don't know about you, but I found it very interesting how many companies so willingly rolled back DEI standards as soon as the Trump administration gave them permission to. It's been kind of hilarious. There's a lot of companies out there that have been heavily promoting their DEI position, changing their flags to rainbow flags of Pride Month, doing all of the things to kind of perpetuate themselves as part of this woke agenda concept. And it is kind of funny to see how fast they're like, great, we don't have to do that anymore. Just kind of proving that it wasn't part of their culture, it was an imposition from bureaucracy. And so a couple of things to think about. What are the pros to the rollback of DEI? Now, first I want to start with the idea that diversity is not bad. We want diversity. We just want diversity to come organically and naturally through the company's culture and desire to be diverse and to attract the right people that are diverse. It's not that I don't want an array of different ideas and concepts at play, but I want them to be based on the merit that those people bring to the table. And one of the huge cons of DEI that people don't really talk about is that there are people that come through organizations that contribute heavily that are one of these groups, maybe a minority, maybe their sexuality puts them in this cast, maybe it's a female. And because of imposed DEI standards on corporate culture, many of these organizations may have people that believe someone was promoted past them based on DEI standards, when in fact they could be completely merit-driven decisions. But with imposed DEI standards, we would never know that. And these people are kind of justified in their thought that maybe I'm getting passed over because I'm not the right color or the right gender or something like that. It's not true at all sometimes. So it actually hurts those same minorities that it was trying to help in the first place. There's also an extreme cost with some of these organizations in the bureaucracy of having to install diversity, equity, and inclusion officers, equity officers, whatever. You having to put that into your hiring process, creating an extremely rigid hiring process where if I get 100 resumes and I'm looking right now, I need to hire more Asian people. And I got 95 out of 100 resumes were not Asian. Now I have to use those 5 people. So I'm picking from a much smaller pool, or I have to go out and get 1,000 resumes on what would have taken 100 to find someone that was a merit-driven candidate for a role. So the whole process is completely inefficient. Do I think that there were some pros to it? I believe that there probably were some pros. There probably was the idea that in some cases there were people that might have gotten to the table that were qualified for a position that might have been passed over in that process. But I think we want a society that doesn't, make things happen through kind of that monarchy of like, you have to do this. I think companies, when they're giving free rein to do what's best for the company, they're going to hire all of those same people. It's just going to be driven by what can they bring to the table. I want a diverse culture. I want people to be part of the team that come from all walks of life. I want people that have different ideas. I want them to be a cultural fit. I want them to have the appropriate character. And ultimately, I care about that more than I care about any minority group that they're from, what their gender is, any of that kind of stuff, right? Also, in my opinion, DEI got kind of wild when they started pushing the transgender movement, because I believe businesses, when they start being forced to hire people from that group, are doing themselves a disservice. And I actually think it's a complete disservice to all lesbians and gay people and minorities and women that they were getting lunged in there with the transgender community, because I believe it completely discredited the entire DEI movement altogether, and it's what created such an easy to get rid of temperament in the corporate community. So when Trump said, let's go, I think they probably would have held on to some of their DEI standards a little bit longer if that community wasn't getting lunged in there with the rest of everyone else. And that is what I believe.